Hi, everybody. My name is Jane Montero. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel. This has come about after Online Art Teachers K-12, affectionately known as OAT K-12, has come to an archiving point. And I was a team moderator or team leader. Some of you might have watched my videos in the past. And in fact, I received a couple of messages from some people who were members on OAT K-12 saying, Jane, where can I find you after this? And I want to keep seeing the lessons that you do with your students. So I thought, let's just do a YouTube channel. So if you're here, thank you. And I'm going to be sharing with you different lessons I've already done and new ones that come about. Just a little bit before we get started about my background, I just finished my 32nd year of teaching. So stay tuned, here we go. And I guess I need a title. How about Digital Design to the Rescue? All right, let's go. So for my first YouTube tutorial ever for my YouTube channel, I wanted to share with you Digital Design to the Rescue, what I recently presented as part of OAT K-12's Summer Institute. Some of you may have seen this already, but this was a compilation of 3 different projects. And the one that I wanted to show you as a tutorial is the Mandala project. So sit back, relax, and here we go. Before we start, I talk about ancient India. I explained that the word mandala means circle in Sanskrit, the language of ancient India. I talked to them about symbols that they use, that they're repeated and often represent the universe, and that they are an example of radial symmetry. I show some examples like this. I just found these online just to show students a little bit more about radial symmetry. But I give them this template to start with. And we use Canvas grading. So on Canvas, I put this template and I force them to make a copy. It's a forced copy. I'm not forcing them, but they click the link and it forces them to make a copy. So let me show you how we're going to do this. So I'm going to switch over to my Google Drive in just a sec. All right, so here we go with my Mandala template, which they will get when they open up the Canvas assignment and they click the link and it will say make a copy, and then they do that. I have them rename it up here. I've already called my Mandala example in the title box. So what we're going to do then, working on top of this template and moving the template forward and back, you will see how this goes. So let's start with some shapes. Go up to the shape icon, click the circle shape first. And you know, to get a perfect circle, put your finger on the shift key, hold it down while you draw a circle. Then look for those red lines. That's going to center everything on your page. So there it is. Okay. Then what are we going to do? Go to the border. Let's make that transparent. Go to the paint bucket, pick a color, any color you want. All right. Next up, and I tell students they need to have between 5 to 8 rings around it. Generally 5 is sufficient. 8 gets pretty small. You'll see in a minute here. So other than the circle tool for the background, they can also use, if you go up to shapes, callouts. And I say any of the stars starting here with about number 8 through 32. I just like to limit these because sometimes it gets a little tricky when we're talking about radial symmetry to line everything up. So there's my shape. I had my finger on the shift key to draw that shape so it's a circle. Look for your red lines. Okay, now get rid of the border, transparent. And by the way, I'm using a mouse, not just a keypad on a Chromebook, but students do this with their Chromebook. Okay, go to the paint bucket. What color do you want this? I'll go there. Now, what do? Where'd the circle go? It's in the back. So we have to go arrange, order, send to back. Okay. Next up, let's go back to circles. So I'm gonna come over here, click shapes, click circles. And by the way, I do this with my whole class. We do this part together, just so I can make sure everybody's off to a good start. Okay, I'm going to pick another color. Arrange, order, send to back. Okay, I'm going to go back to one of the callouts. Here is the 16-point star. Finger on the shift key and draw, draw, draw. Bring this over. Look for those red lines. Let's change the color. Sometimes I go back to the ones I started with or make them slightly darker. Arrange, order, send to back. Okay. I'm going to put one more back there because right now I have 4, and I'm going to put one more, just a giant circle back there, and really just for demonstration purposes. Finger on the shift key, hold it down, draw a big circle, bring this over, look for those lines. I need to bring this a little bit more out and a little bit more down. Look for those black lines. All right, just about have it. Okay, so what do? Go to border, transparent, pick a color, arrange, order, send to back. Okay, so that's what we have at this point. So the next thing we're going to do is we need to group that. So if you click on your background, this is my template line. So put your finger on the arrow key on your keyboard, either to the left or the right. I'm just going to move this over to the left. I just am holding my finger down on that keyboard function right now. Slide it all the way over so your blue line is past your circle, because we're going to group all of this. Okay, now I'm going to come over here. Let me click this. I'm going to get this a little bit farther away. Okay, come over here, take your cursor and draw over your shapes. See how it picked them all up? Now I go to arrange and I go down to group. Now that whole piece is going to travel together. Okay, so let me click my template, bring my template back over. Now you notice how it's behind that? I want my template in the front. So you go to arrange, order, bring to front. Now I can see it. And it should line right back up if you're just using your arrows. And a way to kind of nudge things is to have your finger on the shift key while you nudge things over. There we go. Okay. All right. So next up, we're going to now design one slice, and then we're going to move everything out of the way. We're going to group that slice, copy, paste, flip, copy, paste, flip. You'll see. So what do I want to do first? We're going to zoom. Go to view, zoom 200%. Okay. You are only going to work on one pizza slice. So make sure you can see one pizza slice. If you want to zoom in a little more, you can. If it's too hard, if you want to really have control of your design, go back to zoom, zoom in. You can take your sidebars. Okay, so that's the one shape I'm working on. Okay, so I tell students they can use any of the shape tools in the first 2 rows. That includes the top row and the oval row. Okay, nothing below. I don't want hearts, smiley faces, lightning bolts. I mean, whatever. You can have them do that if you want to. I just don't want it to get silly. Okay, then under the line category, they can also use the curve, the polyline, and the scribble tool. So I'm going to show you both. So starting over here, you can take any tool you want. Let's say I just want to start simply with the circle tool, oval. I require students to put designs in each of their color areas. So I have drawn an oval. I'm using the circle to turn it. This is going to be super easy just so you can see this. I've done them super detailed, but this one's going to be an easy one. Go to border color, transparent. Go to your fill color. Again, it can be any color you want. Now, students often ask if they can do gradients in here. Sure. Okay. So let's say you've done a shape that you love and you want to use it again. The shape is highlighted, Control C, Control V. That's on a Chromebook. On my laptop, it's Command C. There's my shape. I'm going to change the color. I'm going to do a Control C, Control V, move this one over, turn it a little bit. So honestly, any level student can do this. This is not hard. You can simplify it, of course, and you can make it more complex as well by requiring students to put more details in different kinds of tools. Okay, let me show you what happens if I come over here. Another fun tool, a fun shape is the diamond shape. So if you draw this shape, spin it, bring it in. I'm going to change the color of this one. Also, you can require students to change the colors. I mean, It's your assignment. Make it fit your students' needs. If you're doing something with geometric shapes, you could do this at a lower level. Don't have them do as many rings, just have maybe one circle color and just have them do a certain shape. Triangles in one section, circles in another. I mean, it all depends on your grade level, your students' ability. Okay, now let me come up here. I'm going to show you a couple cool things. Here is the curve line. So a curve line, which students have used already in their Dragon Eye, can help you create a different shape. Every time you click, you are changing the direction. What am I going to do with that? Get rid of the border, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to go super light. Okay, let me show you one more. Let me show you the scribble tool. Scribble tool I really like to use on this project. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to loop this down. It's just like drawing, finger painting. Go right to those lines. What am I going to do with that? Well, you can keep it as it is. You can change your color. You can also make it a dash line, or you can make it a wider line. There's a dash line. So when I'm finished, I'm going to go back to view, zoom. Let's go back to 100%. Okay, that looks tiny right now, doesn't it? So go to your cursor, and what you're going to do then is we're going to click the template. We are going to slide this over because we have made one pizza slice. So what I tell students is get everything out of the way. Then we're going to group that pizza slice, and then we're going to copy and paste it. So there's that. Now I'm going to come over here and click this. I'm going to slide this over as well. So all I'm left with right now is that one pizza slice, the design. Okay. So now I come over here, draw over all of those shapes. See that? I picked them up. Go to arrange, go down to group. Okay. Now, here is a shortcut. Go back to your template only, not the colors, and let's slide this back over. And then I'm going to move it behind my pizza slice design so I can copy and paste the pizza slice design. And let's see, that should be about where I want it. Every now and then things slightly move. Okay, so arrange, order, send to back so that that is behind everything now. Click your pizza slice. Sorry, let me click my pizza slice. There we go. Now, what am I going to do? It's already grouped, so I'm going to do a Control-C and a Control-V. Now, format options. Go to size and rotation, flip this vertically, slide this down with your cursor. Look for those lines, look where things line up. Use the Shift key to kind of nudge things together, okay? Now, I'm going to do another one. Since they're every other way to make it symmetrical, why don't I go back to this one? Control-C, Control-V, bring this down. I'm going to fit it underneath the one I just did. Move the little circle, spin this, scoot this over with your finger, line this up down. Look at where any of your line designs are because you want those to line up. Okay, now I need one more. Control-V. I'm going to flip it the other direction and I'm going to move it up. And I'm going to spin this so that it fits. I've got to move it a little bit more, but let me get it over here. And move this up, move this over. Look at your lines. And there we go. Okay. Now, take your template, scoot this out of the way. And now all I'm left with are all of my pizza slices on one half. And because this needs to be symmetrical, what I'm going to do now is group these shapes, draw over them, go to arrange, and go to group. Now, Control-C, Control-V, flip it, slide it over with your finger, look for where things line up, move this over a teens. This can get kind of like splitting hairs sometimes. Okay, now go back, grab your color, slide it back over. take a look at everything. Where do you want your things to be here? Maybe that looks pretty good. I'd probably do a little bit more juggling of those shapes to get them lined up. Take your template, delete it. You don't need that anymore, okay? Sometimes I have students do this. This is really fun. Go down the call outs, get the 32 point. Bring this down in the middle. And I'm gonna make that the lightest color I use. Get rid of the border. This is just a tiny little detail, okay? All right, next up, gotta scooch that over, teams. Okay, now let's put a background in here. When you're in Google Drawing, it's a little tricky to get a background, but you can do it by drawing it if you're on your laptop like I am. I'm gonna draw this all the way over, and I'm gonna get rid of the border, and I'm gonna go to gradients. I'm gonna do a radial custom gradient. Put this on radial. It doesn't matter what your first center is, it's hiding anyway. Add a shape, come over here. Maybe I go with blue, add a shape. Maybe I go with purple, click OK, arrange, order, send to back. And voila, you are done. So I thought you would enjoy seeing that. And hold on just a sec, and let me get back to where we are finishing up. So this is one of my first ones. You can see a little bit more detail than what I was showing you. These are some students from this past year. Beautiful job by my students. So how do you assess all of this? Well, how do you assess anything, right? Make it meaningful. How many points is it worth? It's your project, it's your assignment. What do? I use a rubric. This is a 5-point assignment, and I have specific points I want them to reach. What are your benchmarks? What are your standards? Make it count. And I'll leave you with this. Oh, the projects you can do, right? Digital design to the rescue has been a phenomenal change in my teaching. And I now call my art class, it is approved at my school. It is not called just art, it is called art and design. So these are some things you can see. 5th grade, we did a Jen Stark project. We did a Roy Lichtenstein pop art wow project. We did a Jacob Hashimoto hexagon project. And then in 6th grade, I changed it up a lot, but we have done a Hilma af Klint project. We did just a general shape composition you can see on the bottom left. And after we finished our printmaking unit where students carved and learned to print, I added an Andy Warhol digital shoe design project you can see down there at the bottom. So that's all I have for my first YouTube video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please feel free to email me, drjanemontero@gmail.com.